What is a proprietary lease for a co-op apartment? We'll demystify the following topic in this video. My name is Chris at Hauseit. Hauseit is the largest assisted for sale by owner and buyer agent commission rebate company in New York City, established 2014. A proprietary lease is a binding lease agreement between a shareholder and a cooperative corporation governing the relationship between the parties and the terms of the shareholder's residency in the building, and more specifically, the shareholder's residency within their specific apartment in the building. Proprietary lease definition. The proprietary lease is a signed lease agreement between a co-op apartment owner and the board of directors of a cooperative corporation, which governs the relationship between the two parties and the terms of the co-op apartment's owner's residency in the building. Keep in mind that because the co-op apartment owner is a shareholder with ownership in the cooperative corporation, the entity that actually owns the building, the shareholder is not considered a statutory tenant under New York City's regulation laws. Rather, the shareholder-tenant's relationship with the cooperative corporation is governed by the proprietary lease as well as New York State business law pertaining to corporations who operate for the benefit of their shareholders. Remember that co-op apartments are not considered to be real property since the cooperative corporation actually owns the building. Shareholders receive a stock certificate noting how many co-op shares they own, as well as a proprietary lease which enables them to occupy the apartment they bought effectively in perpetuity. Difference between the proprietary lease versus co-op bylaws. The co-op's bylaws dictate how the co-op is organized, managed, how elections are held, indemnifies officers and directors, and grants various powers to the co-op. The proprietary lease, on the other hand, is more focused on the contractual relationship between each shareholder and the cooperative corporation and the rights and responsibilities of each party. Both the co-op bylaws as well as the proprietary lease are considered to be important foundational documents and can usually be found in the original condo or co-op offering plan. Important sections of the proprietary lease. A proprietary lease is important because it permits the shareholder to occupy the apartment that he or she bought. Without a proprietary lease, a shareholder only has shares in the cooperative corporation, which doesn't do the buyer any good if he or she can't actually reside in the apartment. The proprietary lease dictates how maintenance charges are levied. The proprietary lease will clarify how and when maintenance should be paid, i.e. typically on the first of each month, and also confirms that shareholders are responsible for their pro rata share of any co-op special assessments. The responsibilities of the co-op corporation are spelled out. The proprietary lease would typically state that the co-op is responsible for maintaining the building in good condition, including all common areas such as sidewalks, courts, hallways, cellars, stairways, elevators, etc. It will also specify what utilities are included, such as hot and cold water and heat. Right of inspection of the corporation's books by shareholders. The proprietary lease gives shareholders the right to inspect the full and correct books of account during reasonable hours at the corporation's main office. The co-op corporation is typically responsible for providing an annual financial report certified by an independent accountant as well. Everyone has the same lease. The sample proprietary lease we've included below states that each proprietary lease shall be in the form of this lease unless a variation is authorized by at least 2/3 of the lessor's shares. In the event that a revised proprietary lease is approved by a majority vote, then all shareholders will get the new lease. The co-op corporation is totally indemnified. As you might imagine from what little you know about co-ops, the co-op corporation is totally indemnified from all liability, loss, damage, and expense arising from injury to person or property occasioned by the failure of the lessee to comply with any provision hereof, or due wholly or in part to any act, default, or omission of the lessee or of any person dwelling or visiting in the apartment, or by the lessor, its agents, servants, or contractors when acting as agent for the lessee as in this lease provided. Breaching the house rules is an act of default. The proprietary lease informs the shareholder that the co-op corporation can alter or amend the house rules, and that the house rules are considered to be part of the proprietary lease since it was given in conjunction with the proprietary lease. Our sample proprietary lease states that the lessee hereby covenants to comply with all such house rules and see that they are faithfully observed by the family, guests, employees, and subtenants of the lessee. Breach of a house rule shall be a default under this lease. Odor and noises. Our sample proprietary lease states that the lessee shall not permit unreasonable cooking or other odors to escape into the building. The lessee shall not permit or suffer any unreasonable noise or anything which will interfere with the rights of other lessees or unreasonably annoy them or obstruct the public halls or stairways. Pretty scary considering how subjective some of these terms are, and the lessee is considered to be in default if the terms of the lease and house rules are not followed. Shareholders automatically lose if a mechanic's lien is filed. Per the sample proprietary lease we've included below, if a mechanic's lien against the building shall be filed purporting to be for labor or material furnished to or for the lessee shall forthwith cause such lien to be discharged by payment, bonding, or otherwise. And if the lessee shall fail to do so within 10 days after notice from the lessor, then the lessor may cause such lien to be discharged by payment, bonding, or otherwise without investigation as to the validity thereof, or of any offsets or defenses thereto, and shall have the right to collect as additional rent all amounts so paid and all costs and expenses paid or incurred in connection therewith, including reasonable attorney's fees and disbursements, together with interest thereon from the time or times of payment. This language is extremely scary and should be carefully read by anyone considering buying a co-op in NYC or anywhere else for that matter, because essentially you automatically lose if you have a dispute with a contractor for any work done on your apartment. For example, let's say a terrible plumber comes by and doesn't fix your in-unit boiler, but sends you an arbitrary bill for $5,000 anyway for labor. You dispute this and the plumber files a mechanic's lien. The lien is technically on the entire building, and per the proprietary lease, the cooperative corporation will automatically pay it without investigating its merits and bill you the sum plus any additional costs. Essentially, you automatically lose in any dispute with a contractor, and you'd have to find some convoluted way to get that money back if an appeal or a new lawsuit is even possible. Scary. The co-op can force entry into your apartment. Not only are you required to share a key to every lock on your door, but if the building staff can't get in, then they are allowed to forcibly enter your apartment, i.e. break in, at your expense. The building only needs to provide you with reasonable notice, but otherwise they are allowed to, quote, visit, examine, or enter the apartment at any reasonable hour of the day upon notice, or at any time and without notice in case of emergency. The co-op can terminate your lease and repossess your apartment. The sample proprietary lease we've included below states that the lessor shall have the right to re-enter the apartment and to remove all persons and personal property therefrom, either by summary proceedings or by any suitable action or proceeding at law or in equity or by force or otherwise, and to repossess the apartment in the event that the shareholder violates the terms of the proprietary lease. A few more of the interesting conditions that will automatically cause a lease termination are lessee becoming bankrupt, unauthorized subletting or occupancy, default in rent, default in other covenants, lessee's objectionable conduct. The last point is especially scary given the subjectivity of what constitutes objectionable conduct. Our sample proprietary lease states that if the board determines with a 2/3 vote that the conduct of the lessee or a person dwelling or even visiting the apartment is objectionable, and this behavior persists after written notice, then the building can terminate the shareholder's lease. Will a co-op renew my proprietary lease? Yes, co-op boards will always remember to renew and extend the proprietary lease, typically before it nears 30 years before expiration. That's because a proprietary lease that expires in under 30 years will cause problems with many banks in regards to extending purchase financing. As a result, it is the fiduciary duty of the co-op board to remember to extend the proprietary lease and to always keep the expiration date more than 30 years in the future. Remember that every shareholder has the same, most updated version of the proprietary lease, meaning someone can't be singled out. Why can't a co-op board extend a proprietary lease hundreds of years into the future? Even though it might seem convenient for a co-op board to extend a proprietary lease hundreds or even thousands of years into the future so they never have to remember to renew it, they don't do so because such a lengthy lease period might be interpreted by tax authorities as a transfer of ownership. Now, this isn't what anyone wants, as a transfer of ownership would require the payment of New York State and New York City transfer taxes. This is why co-op boards will always keep a proprietary lease updated with a term longer than 30 years, but not much more than that. So there you have it. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit like or subscribe. We do come out with content on a regular basis. And of course, if you're looking to buy or sell property in New York, check us out, www.hauseit.com. The spelling is below. We can help you save up to 6% on the sell side with our Assisted FSBO services and up to 2% on the buy side through our buyer agent commission rebates. Again, my name is Chris at Hauseit, and we'll see you on the next one.